I do want to come back to California, and all the wonderful transit-related stuff that's happening is just adding fuel to the fire, especially in my hometown of LA. So I'm looking forward to hearing what these guys have to say about it, having been on the home front all this time. So the first speaker is Fiona Ma. Fiona Ma represents the 2nd District on the State Board of Equalization, the nation's only elected tax board. Mrs. Ma was elected to serve on the Board of Equalization in November 2014, having previously served as Speaker pro tempore of the California State Assembly and as a member of the Board of Supervisors for the City and County of San Francisco.
Thank you so much. I'm a little under the weather, so my throat sounds probably extremely sexy, and I don't normally talk like this, but that's what people have been telling me. Anyway, I am so happy to be back here. When I was in the State Assembly for 6 years, high-speed rail was one of my biggest passions and one of the issues that I worked hardest on. And when I first got elected, I stood up in caucus. This was, November 2006, and I said, members, I am going to work on high-speed rail. I want to keep it on the ballot. I think the voters should vote on it, and we are trying to build a Trans-Bay terminal in San Francisco, and we're kind of waiting to see if high-speed rail passes, because it doesn't make sense if we pass high-speed rail and we have this great terminal and we didn't accommodate the rail coming in. So, my colleagues who had been there longer than I kind of patted me on the back and said, congratulations, that's great that you want to work on this, good luck. We've been working on this for many years, and basically good luck. So I said, okay, not being deterred, and I started putting together a bipartisan group of elected officials. I talked to the Speaker of the Assembly and talked to the head of the Senate, and I said, Fabian and Don, the voters need to vote on high-speed rail, and I really would like your blessing to do what you can to keep it on the ballot. And they said, okay, Ms. Ma, we will do that if you want to work on this. So then fast forward a couple months, I get invited to go to France on a trip with the Speaker to study high-speed rail. And we're sitting at a luncheon with these folks, and they said, well, it's very fortunate that you're here from California. We are going to be boarding the fastest, we're hoping to break the world record for train, rail on track record in France tomorrow. And so we're really, really excited, and we're glad you're here. And being the person that I am, if you knew me, I said, well, why aren't we invited? And they said, oh, do you want to go? And I said, well, I'd like to go. I mean, this is what I'm going to work on for the next 6 years, is high-speed rail. So, the Speaker looked at me and he said, Ms. Moss, since this is your passion, you go ahead, you can go on this train. And so the next day, they did all the background check, and I had to get up really early and drive out to the middle of the countryside. And did you guys all see the video this morning? So I was on that train. Okay, I was on that train, and just to prove it, I brought my little souvenir that they gave me for being on that record-breaking train. And anyway, so the video stopped right as people were getting off the train, right? They interviewed all the executives. I was in the same train, sitting behind them. They were like all exciting and cheering. They had champagne on ice and, cheersing each other. And I'm just like holding on to dear life because I can't stand speed. And I'm going, when are they going to stop? This is ridiculous. I shouldn't have signed up for this. So I finally get up, and there's like cameras on me. You're from California? You're from America? Are we gonna have high-speed trains in America? So what am I supposed to say? I go, yes, we are. And that's how I kind of got sucked in further to this whole mission, right? Because here I was now, gonna be the spokesperson for high-speed trains in California. So fast forward, I was very, very happy to work on the high-speed rail initiative. It almost didn't make it to the ballot. As many of you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor at the time. He wanted to use the money for other types of projects. When the ballots went out, Prop 1A, the revised version was not in the original voter handbook, so we had to send out a supplemental initiative flyer to everyone. The community, high-speed train community, didn't think that this was going to really happen, so we didn't really raise a lot of money. But it's really because I think of the young people on the college campuses that helped pass the high-speed rail initiative. And I know that Jeremy Stutz is here. He's president of Rail LA, a nice young man leading the charge. But it's really the young people who didn't ask, is this ever going to happen? Or how much is it going to cost? Or how are we going to get it done? They were the ones saying, why can't we ride the train now? You know, out at UC Merced, they want to go to LA or San Francisco for the weekend and get on the train, you know, for 2 hours. And so the young people, November 2008, in the worst recession ever, I believe the young people helped pass high-speed rail with 53% of the vote. And I just want to thank Jeremy and all the young people here who are volunteering on this campaign to really make this happen. And it does take leadership at all levels of government. We heard the mayor of Palmdale today and convincing his colleagues on his side of the aisle that this is really needed and that, you know, sitting in congestion for hours and hours is not acceptable, right? It takes city, state leaders and everybody here and beyond to really keep this project going. We're lucky we have a great visionary leader in our governor, Governor Jerry Brown. 40 years ago when he was governor, he rode the Shinkansen in Japan and said, why can't we bring this to California? And 40 years later, he is at the forefront trying to make things happen. I think this is one of his legacy projects, and without his leadership, we would not have some of the funding from the cap and trade dollars that are out there to continue to meet our 1/3 state participation to make this happen. So again, I'm happy to be invited back. Right now I sit on the State Board of Equalization, which is a tax board. So before, you know, in the legislature, I was working on high-speed rail and transit-oriented development and putting cameras in our muni buses and creating electric vehicle charging stations. And now on the tax board, I am trying to tax cannabis, trying to tax e-cigarettes, and trying to figure out whether diapers or feminine hygiene products should be tax exempt. So I've kind of gone in a different world, but I'm very, very happy to this association for always welcoming me back with open arms to come and talk about this, because this is very, very important, not only to the people here in this room, but to really the future of California, whether we're going to be able to provide a safe, reliable, efficient transportation mode so that people can really get around in California. So again, thank you all for being here, and it's great to see so many of my starry-eyed dreamers that are now here seeing it a reality.